And we are diving straight into game number 1 of our lower bracket finals. WE, the Miracle Dream that has taken a little bit of a downturn versus BLG, the mighty Titan who rises from below. It is going to be a fun one nonetheless, gentlemen. I am excited as we get into this draft number 1 here, Quax.
I am super duper stoked. And I mean, a little bit of molasses thrown on the magic that WE have managed to conjure up so far here in the playoffs, though nonetheless was strong enough to beat BLG the first time. Maybe they could rebound it a little bit and beat them out the second time. Would be absolutely another big story of an already extremely historic and eventful tournament.
I think it's really funny to see where we are in the bracket and then take a look at the scores that are still here from the regular season. 1-13, 2-12, yet this is the semi-final / lower finals. One of these teams is going to MSI tonight, speedrunning through the picks and bans. With the Seraphine priority already, I expect an Ashe answer, a Lulu follow-up from WE, and I also expect some priority through the jungle. I think Monki has been a player on this team that has been driving this team forward, and tonight, a matchup against Shen, something that's going to need to be very important.
But Seraphine, crucially, immobile, so I do think snagging up the Jarvan right away does have a lot of value. Also, the mid laners, relatively untouched in the ban phase. We did see the Orianna, obviously, taken off the board, but that's kind of a given in a lot of drafts, especially worldwide. True. So the Ryze is still available. Cassiopeia is still also on the board, but Cassiopeia priority has dropped off significantly in the LPL because it has been on a cataclysmic loss streak. So Anivia probably going to be the default if Knight wants to go for that. But this just puts them in a bit of a pickle here because they want to give that Sion priority over to Bin. It is one of Cube's best champions, and they also want to complete the Ashe Seraphine, so it will deny some of those immediate counter picks over to the mid lane and maybe gives Karis a favorable matchup going into game 1.
Yep.
I do really like that. I do really like the fact that they do have the Ashe here to at least get that combo. It's not stolen away or anything earlier on.
Yeah. I mean, we've been seeing like the the Ashe Lulu being paired together. A lot of Bin blind picking. And the last time Bin actually played this matchup specifically was last series. So he played the Sion. It was into a Shen. Bin's been blind picking this Sion quite a lot. So obviously some comfort.
He's the Sion merchant.
He's currently... he's 3-1 on it in playoffs so far. Sion's been going through a tear recently in the LPL, but junglers left up for BLG. I think like the Vi is a great ban here from WE, allowing some like more setup and follow up with the Ashe Seraphine. But I want like this draft to develop into an identity. Right now, you've got a really strong bot lane that generates push, is great around dragons, and you've got your top side, but you've got real no core. Whereas for WE, they've got insane side lane. They've got good team fighting with this Jarvan and plenty of bot lanes that we've been seeing answer and rise up to this Ashe Seraphine.
I like this Nautilus ban as well because it does signal that I think BLG are under the impression that they maybe want to go for like a Ziggs lane and try to close the gap in this already really high-ranged BLG duo. So they're going to deny that possibility by taking away the Nautilus. Also means that the Ziggs probably not going to be high priority for WE going into the rest of Game 1's draft. So Karma just going to be the default answer here. Does give you some poke, gives you some fight back in the 2v2s, but nothing can really stand in the way of Ashe Seraphine winning in those lane dominant skirmishes, I feel. So it puts WE in a bit of a tight situation. And also, I feel like with the Jarvan and the Shen, this is your engage button. This is your go in combo. But I think the disengage from BLG with the Ashe Seraphine plus the Sion just gives you so much space to work with and really allows you as BLG to pick your battles for sure.
Yo, but we do have the Knight special coming out in game number 1. A lot of weight put on his shoulders with this Ahri pick and a lot of at least consistency between him and Knight in terms of what they're going to be looking for, the aggressive stances and the mobility he's going to have out of mid lane.
Ooh.
Okay.
Declaration there.
Been rising up in priority a lot recently through playoffs after his changes, but game 1, BLG, I was talking about this draft not having too much of an identity earlier on, but now it absolutely does. It is a front to back. We are picking off the first target. The Lee Sin is a statement pick here for Shen. Quax and I were actually just talking about Jhin. We were watching the
Oh,
Gen
you
G
were,
series.
weren't you? Yeah, you were.
We were.
You were.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
There was a
Saying
Mazel
some
around there
disrespectful
somewhere.
things to your main.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember you guys downtrodding my guy.
You didn't hear I said I like Jhin. It's just sometimes we see some builds that are a little bit here or there, and the Jhin that we were watching did end up losing and did do very little damage. There is a Sion on the other team. Not a ton of things that can like reliably get through that. The Shen will help it in lane. The Jarvan is Pen. But I don't want to see the lethality Jhin build. We need AD, we need an LDR in there, and something to take down this Sion.
There is very little I think WE are going to be able to actually leverage against BLG if Bin ends up coming out to an early lead in this matchup against the Shen. We saw this matchup last time when these two teams met first time around. It felt like Cube got the better of Bin, not through the lane, but through his influence in a lot of these team fights. And I feel like this is a matchup where your influence post laning phase is going to be way more important than what you actually end up doing in said laning phase. But if Bin can jump out to an early lead, if he can be that tanky Sion, it really feels difficult to imagine a world where WE can get through his health bar, get onto those backliners, and that's just free scaling, free poke for what is a very damage-heavy rest of BLG comp.
And that's the scariest part, is these solo lanes have been very lethal for BLG in that lower bracket run that they've been in. And we have seen that slump from WE. But all that matters now is the rift in front of us and who wins this best of 5. A ticket to MSI, a ticket to the domestic title here in spring. It is the LPL lower bracket finals in spring 2026. WE versus BLG.
Winner ending up going to MSI, gonna meet top esports in that fabled grand final to determine who will be the first and second seeds. Not gonna matter too much for the LPL, all things considered, given that both of them will auto-qualify past the play-in stage and just immediately be able to play against some of the best from the other regions, because we are the first stand champions, so we get that privilege here. But still, a big deal for a lot of the WE members who have never gotten into a grand finals so far in their careers. It would be absolutely monumental for them.
Yep. I want to talk about this Sion pick quickly here. Going on a bit of a tear through playoffs. I mean, there was one game in mid, but it is 14 games, 71% win rate. So far as the HUD breaks, and actually on an 8-game win streak so far in the LPL in playoffs. Bin's played it, I think, 3 times recently, all to wins. Both of these players pretty comfortable on this pick, provide so much, comfort in blind picking top, which is something that is very important these days. This top matchup that we see so oftentimes go one way or the other, and getting Bin on it in this, early on in this draft, I think speaks positives to BLG's drafting.
I would agree, and we go ahead and have that graphic here for you, and be able to see how dominant this pick is. But I think that's what's so funny is the last time I was casting for BLG, I was thinking about how Bin is just become the Sion man, which is hilarious because it's like a full circle of his arc of being, a carry top laner into getting taught to play tanks because he needed to beat 369 to then playing carries again and then now playing Sion again. So I think, life is a wonderful circle, and Bin has been pretty damn good at it.
Yeah, he can do it all. I mean, Bin has been touted as the best top laner in the world before, and having that dynamic champion pool is certainly part of owning up to that moniker, as both junglers have gone for their full clears. Monki, instead of contesting a crab, actually opting to go for a reset because he knows Shen started on those raptors, so maybe wants to try and contest him on those. We can already see Erha moving toward mid lane as well to give him that reinforcements necessary to deny this camp away from the Lee Sin.
Yep. See what happens here as Shen crosses over. There is a ward down. Raptors spawning in a moment.
I do like to see some of this early move. I think that's something that's going to be super important for WE to kind of keep pace of things here. But BLG have some good answers. They are deploying
Viper
4 people out here to fight this one.
Wow.
This is going to be huge, though. They go right back in for the fight. And now we see the flash charm come through from Knight. And the miss flash from Monki. He's just going to be taking down first blood as the BLG flags fly.
Unfortunate flash fail there from the jungler of Team WE, and BLG did not want to let that go for free. They committed their bot side toward the top lane. This is going to be a lot of CS missed under the turret for Viper, so they had to get their money's worth. They had to have their time well spent, and they get a kill in response. Monki does get the chicken, the big raptor, but at what cost?
Yep. Really great charm flash from Knight as well. Sets up that play. You can see the synergy of BLG already. And I want to go back to something you were talking about before, Quax, and continue the conversation about BLG solo laners. They're just so incredible. We saw it in the series prior to this. The BLG so far have looked really good. Now, last time against WE, that wasn't necessarily the case. Ben didn't have the best series, but after that, it feels like these players have found themselves again and seeing already the impact on the map.
Yeah, I think we'll continue to see that as well with the early game focus for both of them. One of the funny stats for WE, they haven't played as many games, obviously, as BLG have at this point, but they were 100% win rate in the playoffs when ahead at 15 minutes with a lot of the pace that they like to play with, a lot of the tempo that they play with in the early game through Monki, and I think BLG is going to try to match some of that with the style they've come with draft number 1. Still very, very heavy trades in the bot side. We do have Dragon up and available, and with this push for BLG, they could go for the early neutral.
But it also feels like it's a double-edged sword here, Mazel, where when Monki is ahead, WE can take on the world, but when Monki isn't able to get those proactive plays, isn't able to move around the map, when the Monki madness essentially is limited in WE's playoff games, they struggle a lot more to find those windows in the mid to late game, and BLG, I think, have really shored up their early inconsistencies. Their macro has been a major point of discussion over their lower bracket run, and we're seeing just how clean and tightly they're playing here in game 1.
Sion missed a little bit there, but yeah, it's the zoning abilities. That's what it was. Yeah. They do get the dragon like anyways. WE come in full force after the fact of the play being done. They do take a little bit of control back towards the bot side, but it is already said and done. About 1,000 gold lead for BLG early on into this game.
Yep. The upgraded smite for Shen will mean that the dragon goes pretty easily over to BLG. A little bit of showing up from WE, but mostly a fake contest, just making sure BLG are doing the dragon, not going for anything sneaky. Speaking of sneaky, Shen's in this brush.
Shun is here, and then you can also see On is in the corner too.
Oh, he goes for the kick flash, and he didn't even have to flash for it. He just gets the kick right back into the charm, and that is all she wrote for Karis. That's 2-0 on the board, and really nice combo play, at least from the mid jungle again.
They were up to something sneaky, all right? They were. WE were right. They checked the dragon. It wasn't happening to the dragon. It was 10 seconds later at this brush. Shen picks up the scuttle. Lee Sin's a champion that we've been seeing rise back up into the meta, like we were talking about in the draft, because of his changes. And I still feel like people aren't respecting the amount of early pressure that this pick can really bring out.
I gotta say, I'm so happy whenever this champion gets brought back into the pro meta.
I'm not.
It's so much fun to see.
It is fun.
What do you mean? You don't like seeing
I'm an
the best
ADC.
players in the
Come
world?
on. I don't want to get insect.
See, that's fair. But counter argument, we're about to see some real insane mechanical skill. Grub's up in about 30 seconds. You can see that both teams are around this top side. Monki is actually pathing up. He wants to fight for that in the river. The biggest mechanical skill outplay on Ashe is about to come through here. He's got that ult button. He's gonna click R, and from across the map, someone's getting hit.
And I think the big thing here is that tick over to level 6, because this is where the functioning comp of WE does start to feel better. You can kind of connect some of these pieces here, but there's a lot of shutdown tools on BLG's side as we look at these next fights. And with the dragon still ways out, it does look like BLG are going to take the early play onto the grubs, as mid lane was the attempted play from WE. Even Knight trying to fight back a little bit, tries to go for the charm play. Did burn his Spirit Rush, but that'll be more neutral objective control from BLG.
Yep. Nice flash about to come back up. So it feels like he's kind of baiting WE to use something on him while he's got the Spirit Rush available. WE would have had that flash tracked, but it is the grubs over to BLG. So all the macro objectives so far in this early game have gone over to BLG. WE, they haven't really found their footing in this game just of yet.
And we can see WE could have looked for a cross map onto Viper, but the Ashe smartly gets the reset in time, avoids a potential dive.
Oh, here we go.
Play denied from WE. Field goal on the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Probably was just going to be thrown out there to cancel the back. You know, you're trying to cosplay as prey, as Rock's Tiger's prey. But, you know, you got a little bit more distance to cover before you can get there.
Yeah. I do want to do a little check-in, by the way. It does look like we're at least starting off the correct foot. A BF sword completed for a bout in the bot lane, so we'll be definitely looking at that damage build coming through from him, which is a likened surprise coming from the conversations we were having earlier about Jhin. But this map state can be pretty difficult for WE to manage.
For sure. And, I mean, we could see that Shen, off of that early kill, is just willing to posture so much more aggressively on, even when he is put on champions like the Seraphine. The roams to reinforce the aggressive Lee Sin plays have been so instrumental in policing what Monki can do early on, and you can see he's just relegated to being on the complete opposite side of the map as this dragon comes up in about a minute. This Jarvan's gonna have to go for a reset if he wants to try and contest this objective, and BLG have essentially locked him in a corner. There's only really one way he can get out, but him going through the bot side doesn't feel good when he has no prio in either of those lanes.
You can really see how WE can't really go anywhere right now. BLG with the Ahri in this stage of the game has flashback up, has that Malignance finish already. Shun the same with his Sundered Sky. They just walk in and say, yeah, this is my territory now. And WE have to give 30 seconds until Dragon, and I don't think that's going to change. Yes, you have team fighting tools available. You have the flashes available. Monki just based for a Sundered Sky. That feels good. But BLG, I just feel like they're so much stronger right now.
And this is a trend that we have seen through this lower bracket run from them. They have shut things down, and it does seem like we have seen a little bit more control from them, at least for the majority of their plays. Now, in a state that they have now and a little bit of skirmishing between the jungles, the dragon is spawning. There's the Dragon Rage kick right back onto Erha. He will be taken down about half health, but they maintain prio over the dragon pit here, and they're moving 4 members down to contest this.
I'm looking at the top laners too. No global ultimate available for Bim, but he still has the teleport. Stand United is there for Cube as well, but it's all a matter of Monki finding the angle to passenger the Shen into the fight.
Here we go, 50-50. It's gonna go the way of Shun. He smites it away with a smidgen of health. The curtain call's unleashed. The encore gets hit onto 2. That's gonna be 2 CCs, and Shun is just executing people left and right. That leg swings hit hard, as that's going to be a big CC chain from Cube finally joining with the Stand United. They do get one back with about having some serious damage with that early BF sword start. They lose the dragon. They do chunk back the gold just a tiny bit for WE.
They don't get the objective, but they still get a kill for their efforts. Cube manages to ult on down toward that bot side. Bin, though, is going to get a lot of gold in the form of plates. So it feels like BLG, they're saying, you're gonna cross map us. We're going to cross map you right back, as we do go into the replay here. And Monki just 18 HP is what separates the junglers from being able to secure that objective.
This is great.
And then here, oh, that cancel was insane.
And the Stand United is really what makes this play for WE. If this doesn't come through, if it gets cancelled, which is very possible with a Sion, you can't turn this kill back around. Now, my issue is, with this play, you lost the Drake, you did get a kill. Let's take a look at the solo lane gold. That's just been a night. We're talking about form of the solo laners.
Normal.
I don't know if this Sion guy is dying, everybody. Start ringing the alarm bell.
I do feel like we're seeing a lot of what we've seen from BLG, and that's something that, you know, I feel like they needed, especially in that round number 1. I don't feel like anybody really stepped up to the plate there, and WE had a hell of a day. But now we see this BLG who is hungry, who is ruthless, and who is going for a point-blank charm from Knight just to make it feel that much worse. They are angry, they want revenge, and they are taking it out on WE.
There's the mechanical Ashe outplay that we were all waiting to see. You were talking about no mechanics can be on the junglers. Lee Sin, I'm an AD carry. But the AD carry gets the mechanical outplay. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land there. And now you can see Knight is going to have so much space given to him to farm up a Storm, to collect plates. He'll go for the reset. We're starting to get those gold leads that you talked about, Jbetto. They're being extended even further. And WE don't really have a response at this point.
Yeah, and the solo lanes are winning for BLG. Sure, about has a gold lead, but no cleanse into this comp. And not really a ton of protection. So yes, he's got a gold lead. The item disparity is not leaning in favor of BLG as Viper's completed this Hex Optics. And it feels like, yes, Jhin has the gold, but it doesn't really feel like a lead.
And that's one of the detriments, I feel like, when you're going against a team like this for BLG, is you can have so much momentum, even though WE don't have necessarily that momentum now, but you're still facing some of the most veteran members that the LPL has to offer. Hopefully we can bring up this graphic showing off a little bit of the trophy case here for BLG, as domestic success has been one that has come to them as of late, right? The era really starting in that 2024 season. But it's a team that knows this job, knows how to get it done. And while there's been some question marks about them throughout the past little bit, it's still a team that has risen to the occasion time and time again, and is the one that brought home an international championship once again for the LPL.
And setting aside the titles of the players, setting aside their lower bracket runs so far, people will favor this team in this best of 5 simply because of who is on it. The nameplates really do make a difference for what the general audience favors, and I feel like that is no more true than with BLG because of that success and because of who they are and what they have accomplished for the LPL. Shen now over the wall undetected, but I don't think Erha is going to fall for this. Never mind.
Oh, he might not have to fall for it. He just get hit in the face, as it's going to be WE looking to collapse a play now in the mid lane. BLG holding around. There's the Realm Warp. It's a tad bit too late. BLG able to get away for now. 4 members strong. Jhin is just playing with them now as they have Knight moving around as well.
Yep. Curtain call opened up.
Chris Arrow gets blocked. The curtain call is going to get blocked. Nice friends there. I feel like we have some good teammates on our board here.
I feel like WE are trying their best to find something, because the 5-on-5 team fight against BLG is not that strong. Sion, when he rocks up, no one's killing him. Knight, when he rocks up, no one's killing him, or he's killing you at least. So they're trying to force this ARAM style play where, can we Realm Warp onto them? No. Can we Jhin ult onto them? Not really. We get a little bit of health chunk down, but Dragon's up. BLG in a great spot actually, Bin.
He's big boy. He's got flash. He's got unstoppable onslaught. He's going to go with the choo-choo train, say goodbye to WE, or he'll just stop at the next station over. BLG had started up the Dragon here. This is sole point for them, a big decision-making precipice that they could get to very early into this game.
And keep in mind that Karis, rather, is split from the rest of the team. BLG are in the mid lane. They are making sure that the Realm Warpless Ryze cannot enter with the rest of his squad. BLG, though, they're walking in as a unit, and the TP's coming through.
Oh, Bin's about to be massive. Look at this shield. The flash play for Monki. He tries to go on the target. On does go down, but now Shen is hunting. Shen is looking, goes for the kick on a Monki. The Stand United does not save his life, and now Cube is in the backline trying to get something going for himself, but Knight's able to dip, dash, and dodge his way away. BLG strong together. They lose one, but they take down so many, and Karis forced to flash away.
Oh, and that feels so bad for Team WE. It looked like the initial play was actually going to come up heads for them. Monki gets his access into the backline, and now Karis is ulted.
Not respecting the outplay button. You thought it was Syndra? No, it's Viper on Ashe.
Yep. This catch potential from BLG is unreal, and WE, they don't really have anything to answer it. Cube is an answer as a tank or as his semi-bruiser, but if anyone else is hit by the CC chain that BLG have, WE just kind of fall apart. Knight played that fight unbelievably. 3,000 gold lead out of nowhere. He's 5-0 on one of his biggest signature picks.
He's the golden left hand for a reason.
Yeah. I just, I harken back to the fact that this guy, I was literally in conversations with, oh my god, he's going to finally beat Clear Love He's going to finally pass all the greats in the amount of domestic titles he has. The guy has blown them out of the water. If he wins this split, he'll be at 8, the next highest at 5. And that is just a staple to the fact that this guy is the LPL of this era.
And not even just, you know, moving the hype from Knight over to another player. Back a few years ago when Onward is getting kind of his debut alongside Sword Art as a sub behind him, as we are actually going into a replay. So hold that thought real quick. I do want to pay attention to how Knight plays this fight because, like Jbetto said, really expertly positioned here, gets off to the side. None of the attacks from WE are focused onto this Ahri whatsoever. A clutch charm lands onto Monki, and he's able to get the resets with the ultimate, dance around the members of WE who managed to get onto that back line. And this is to be expected. This is the guy who has ruled the LPL for so many years, for so many splits, and he has lived up to the hype. He's doing so in this game, and he's hoping that that hype can get them to first stand, or not first stand, MSI, wrong tournament.
They already been there, done that. They already got that championship.
They already beat that level.
BLG, they're starting to do the Rift Herald here. Now, Rift Herald has been a very big lack of prio for WE across their games, and it looks like that's going to be the case here. Realm Warp late into the play. It's a bit of a fish in the barrel type situation, but Bin actually hits onto the back line. Encore coming out on Karis. He's the focus, but the charm comes through. The tenacity is hitting. Monki goes into the back line with a stand United, trying to get onto the back line targets, but the Rift Herald play. Viper survives. A 4-man knockup with the Rift Herald, and now he's back in the fight. WE, they have everybody against them, even the monsters on the Rift, and it's not just BLG, as that's an almost complete and total ace. He's going to get ran down here, but Knight doesn't want to go for it. Baron started by Bilibili.
Yeah, Bin plays the sandwich presses. The arrow will go wide, but Bin is behind them. WE can't go anywhere but forward. Then Bin slams into the back line, and the Combat Herald as well to wrap it up. Just looks so pretty.
Baron going to be secured here for all 5 members of BLG. And again, this was another fight where at the start of it, we were like, this might be a moment where WE can turn it around. They're all trapped in the pit, but one by one, whether it's through Herald, whether it's through innate mobility, they get out of that pickle. Monki isn't able to finish off a single kill, and we got to get a replay onto this yet again. It's the Knight POV to show us what's up, and so Bin comes in from the side here, and then I do want to pay attention to Monki's engage. We do see him go in, but look at where Bin is positioned. None of the other WE members are able to join in on the fight. It is just the Jarvan. They single him out, and by the time the rest of the WE members are able to get into the pit, Baron has joined the party. Their jungler is dead. They've got numbers advantage, and WE get picked off.
Yep. Knight's positioning in these fights has just been unreal. The way that he's weaving in and out as well and landing these crucial charms. I mean, this is his signature pick for a reason. He's up 4.5k, 22 stack Magi's. And if you want anyone in the world on an Ahri with a lead like this, it's probably Knight. But BLG in a massive lead right now.
I love to see it from the establishing of the top end of the table for BLG. And it was a big question because the conversation has been, has BLG grown since their last outing against WE? Yep. And while in game number 1, we are seeing that consistency still needs to be there. You got to remember, they did win 1 game the last time they faced off against WE. But I'm going to say that games did not look necessarily like this. This is dominant and this is destructive as we are hitting 3 to 4 items already. Because Magi's is completed almost full stacks, Knight has 5 items with boots 22.5 minutes in.
This is just brutal for Team WE. I mean, you want to fight for this objective, but nobody is killing Bin. We talk about the frontline importance. We talk about the individual growth of this player, being able to go onto the weak siders, being able to play for the team, and this is the result.
He's just setting up the kick. That was disgusting. Shen could have played a lullaby for them if he wanted to, as that's a beautiful charm from Knight once again, and BLG are just barreling down the base, knocking down the front door and saying, WE, are you home?
No, they didn't show up so far in this game, in this series. This looks like a completely different scenario from the first time in the playoffs that these teams faced each other. It looks more akin to the regular season, and BLG, we know where they ended up in the regular season.
Yep. Bin gonna go for a bit of a bow special there on the remaining towers of the base. The respawns are coming through from Team WE, so BLG, I think, are going to exfiltrate this fight. Not going to push their luck any further, but Dragon is still up. They've still got the Baron-empowered recalls. This objective is a rite of passage at this point in the game. WE are just being annoying, canceling the backs, but not delaying any of the objectives.
I like this. I like this. The Realm Orb coming through. They need to make a quick play. They're trying to find some. Dragon Rage picking back up. That's just not fair. As they find another pick. That's the Kern Call stopped by Knight, who found the flank. And that's going to be a huge pick from Knight. Straight onto a bout. And nothing left for WE but pity prizes as a double kill comes through for Knight. He's looking for a little bit more. He can get a triple. No, Ben's going to take that one away. Good fighting strength from WE does not mean much in the face of the might of Bilibili.
Yep, and this will be Soul as well. I thought maybe the game's over, but Karis allows the game to go on a little bit longer because he takes a couple of more seconds to die. But this game is all but done. You're just wrapping a bow up on it right now. Mountain Soul, if you thought the Bin was tanky before, he's going to be even more tanky now. This is an ambitious Realm Warp in. But again, Knight plays this so well. Flanks in here and all but solo kills about. Just beautifully played from the mid laner of BLG.
And I wonder if Knight was actually on vision. Like, did About see the Ahri going his way and he just tunnel vision to look for an ult angle there? Because if so, that just adds an extra layer of tragedy to that attempted play from WE. And Jbetto, it's a desperation play if ever I've seen one. They've got to look for something, anything to try and break this game open, to break the choke that BLG have put them in here in game one. This has been some clean League of Legends from a team that we were a little bit worried about with the playoffs playing clean League of Legends. They've had some hiccups, they've had some moments, and WE exploited that the first time around, but the second time around, they have woken up.
They have indeed, and it's been on the back of these solo lanes. Again, something I really wanted to highlight coming into this series because there has been a difference between these two guys and this playoff run that BLG are on. There's Mountain Soul now. There is nothing to do but the crying for WE, and he's not even in this series as they're going to move up towards top side and try to take down this final top side defense at least. Still bot side available there, but they could also just look to finish the game.
Yep. Walking in, breaking the base. Baron in 30 seconds, so I think it would be a bit ambitious to try to end. You run the risk of giving over some gold, but Knight is like 7,000 individually up.
Fun. Okay, there's going to be the Mikhails used. They still don't have the tools. I got to say, they still have an unkilled Knight on BLG's side. 12-0, looking to put the stamp on this one. Looking to get another top kills in the playoffs as they just find multi-picks. It is a very split WE whose defense crumbles immediately. That's going to be a cautious Realm Warp to try to get back to his base, but he ain't going nowhere as that's going to be a big stop from Bin and a big finish from BLG. A huge start to the series of this lower bracket final. BLG have decided it's time for revenge.
Yep, they make it look easy in this game one. It feels like BLG rocked up angry that they were even down here to begin with.